A newly released cache of internal government documents presents a possible devastating loss of life if the pandemic lockdown is lifted too soon, as we're starting to see in some of the states in the South. Now, government documents obtained by the Center for Public Integrity show that officials are projecting, and this is the Trump administration, that hundreds of thousands of Americans will die if state governments across the United States lift pandemic lockdown restrictions. Now, right now, we have stay at home orders in a lot of different states, but you have a lot of conservative states that are looking to loosen that restriction as early as this week. Now, this is a reporter named Liz Esley White. She writes this on the Center for Public Integrity's website, quote, federal health officials estimated in early April that more than 300,000 Americans could die from COVID-19 if all social distancing measures are abandoned. And later estimates now push the possible death toll even higher. Quote, in the documents, the best guess for how things will play out without further mitigation says that coronavirus cases and deaths would double about every 5.5 days. Yikes. Now, that sounds bad enough, right? 300,000. But even she's saying, no, that's actually worse. Experts who spoke with White said that they were underestimating the death toll of lifting lockdown restrictions. Quote, the model that they're using is actually way too optimistic. This is Ashish Jha, director of the Harvard Global Health Institute. Quote, they're actually getting their analysis wrong. It's going to be worse. We are too optimistic. 300,000 Americans dying. Right now, the death toll is over 44,000 people that have died in America from COVID-19. 300,000. I mean, we went to war over 3,000 people in 9/11. There's a 9/11 happening now every single day. And how many Americans are dying from coronavirus? And yet the administration is allowing these states to say, you know what? No, I'm going to open up my state. Screw it. We got to get people back to work because I'm going to make some money. That's Governor Brian Kemp, who, by the way, did not know previously how, contagious coronavirus really was. Oh, nobody knew. Nobody knew. The experts knew, and these internal government documents show that, of course, they knew. Of course, they knew. But they don't care because they're all corrupt. They're all corrupt, and they want to continue making money. They want to bolster their bottom line by getting the peasants back to work. Get back to work. I don't care if you die. I will replace you with someone else. Just make me money. All I care about is my stock portfolio. And again, that relates to Governor Dan Patrick, who, just recently on Tucker Carlson's show actually said this.
What I said when I was with you that night, there are more important things than living. And that's saving this country for my children and my grandchildren, and saving this country for all of us. And I don't want to die. Nobody wants to die. But man, we got to take some risk and get back in the game and get this country back up and running.
When he says, I got to take some risk. No. Or when he says we are going to take some risk, he doesn't mean himself. He means you. He means you. He's going to risk you so you can go back to work and you can make him money. That's what this is all about. And so these documents are disastrous, even if they're too optimistic. Now, look, conservatives are out there arguing the opposite. Oh, no, it's we're being too harsh. The models are just they're showing too much. You shouldn't be so afraid of this. This is they're going to minimize it, right? And they're already minimizing it. I would like to err on the side of caution because look, you can't bring the dead back, right? But you can rebuild an economy, or you can properly support people while this crisis is happening, while they can't work, so that when they come out the other side, they've got money ready to spend when businesses open up. So that's, what you see now, unfortunately, is the complete opposite. No, we're not going to take care of people. We don't care about the people. We're going to send them back to work because their sacrifice is going to help my economy. Don't care. So you've got Georgia, you've got Florida, you've got other states that are making moves. Texas, where Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is, and Governor Abbott is slowly opening up the economy already. You've got Florida that's letting people on the beaches. They're all doing this at a time where coronavirus cases are still increasing, and they don't have the numbers of aggressive testing that they should, even under the president's guidelines. These are President Trump's guidelines, and the states are going, yeah, that's nice. No, we're not going to follow those guidelines because Donald Trump says liberate the states on Twitter. So he's saying two different things, talking up both sides of his mouth. And the conservative governors, they're having it their way because Trump can have it both way and say, oh, well, look at that. I put out responsible guidelines, but also liberate the states. You got to liberate the states. We cannot have the cure that is worse than the disease. Well, this disease is really, really bad. And sacrificing people for the markets, well, that's only helping the disease. That's not being the cure. I mean, putting people's lives second to the profit margins of business owners who are all able to, of course, safely shelter in place while their employees die. Well, I mean, they don't run this risk. They don't have to run the risk. And so it's just completely inhumane. And you've got people that have refused to social distance, wear masks, and then, call for people to openly gather in the churches and all that stuff. I mean, that's disastrous. And so now that brings us to worst projections, right? And this comes from Florida. The internal documents project that Florida is to see an additional 23,000 deaths if they rescind their social distancing restrictions. 23,000 in Florida alone. Yeah. These are disastrous numbers. These are unnecessary and avoidable. We don't need to open up right now. Yes, I know people are hurting. Yes, the government's doing a terrible job. But the government's supposed to do something about that, but they're choosing not to. And by choosing not to help, they are forcing people to go back into the workplace early, who will then get sick, spread the virus to other people, and possibly die. This isn't the nightmare scenario, by the way. It's what we're driving headlong into with the lifting of the orders so soon. Look, Donald Trump is looking at the iceberg, and he's saying, what iceberg? I don't see it. I don't see an iceberg. I know everything about icebergs there is to know, and I don't see it. So let's just go, and we'll drive into it, the iceberg that I don't see. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is what we're doing. And it's no wonder the medical community is massively against doing these actions. These governors, egged on by Donald Trump, they're going to have blood in their hands. And so is Trump. And at the very least, since we're already driving into this, and since the adults in the room are not even trying anymore, I just hope the people remember when it comes time to choose new leaders. We can remember what these governors had done, the actions they took to try to protect their people, their constituents, and the actions that they ultimately, and what those actions ultimately led to. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.